So I went to the Bay Area this year after a 15-year gap, and I was amazed on otherwise a holiday weekend around the 4th of July, Independence Day. There, almost 85 people turned up to meet me at a dinner event, and the number of Tamils doing extraordinarily well in startups, in venture capital, in big corporates, the big kind of Googles, Facebooks of the world is amazing. In fact, I'm very happy to note, and it was news to me, that my good friend Adithanar, who grew up 4 houses away from me on the same street, a few hundred meters from here, and was a co-founder of a company called Blue Jeans Network that was sold for hundreds of millions of dollars to Verizon. I'm happy to note that he will be with a moderated fireside chat this evening, just to show you that somebody, my good friend, grew up 4 houses away from me. At least I went away to boarding school. Alagu did his whole schooling in Madurai, went to BITS Technology, came to the US a few years after me, and has made such an amazing career success. And I'm very proud of him, and I'm happy that he's going to be here as a showcase of the kinds of things we can do. So that's the strengths. In fact, we have some weaknesses. The reason we don't have so much data about what is already happening in Tamil Nadu is that the bulk of the growth over the last 20 years has happened almost independent of all governments. I'm not talking about my government, but I'm saying 20, 25 years of governments. We are not organized optimally. I don't want to get too far into the detail, but I'll just give an example that when the Vice Chairman was speaking this morning, on one area, in one sector, he's talking about what conversation he's going to have separately with SIPCOT, separately with TIPCO, separately with Tidal, separately with ELCOT. This is not how efficient organizations should function. So this is the bane of government. I've said it from my days in the finance ministry, that we have 15 or 20 different organizations and not enough actual IAS officers to even manage them. Someday we'll have to clean this up. But this is one of the reasons I think that we have not done such a good job of actually promoting and marketing. We have all these disparate efforts. And ironically, all these disparate efforts in actual execution have only one place for promotion, which is this one-stop shop called guidance, which leads to enormous delays and inefficiencies. The Additional Chief Secretary and I were just talking today about how many people complain of delays in getting attention and traction when they try to go through the single window. It's like forcing, a lot of material through the eye of a needle. So there are a lot of things we haven't done that fantastically well. And because of that, most of the growth in this sector in Tamil Nadu has happened purely for the human capital and the infrastructure without actually much government support. In fact, as I've said on the floor of the Assembly, the allocation of funding for subsidies or support payments in the sector is minuscule compared to what a Karnataka or a Telangana, where we compete with, actually allocates. Because they have come independent of us, we don't have the data. We don't know who all are here, we don't know what all they do, and we need people like CII or other research efforts to put it all together. But in spite of all these limitations, here we are, both as a state and in particular as Madurai. What we have achieved is remarkable. You've seen some of the stories on the video. I want to talk about HCL, Tirumurugan's entity, which started here with a few hundred people 6 years ago, 7 years ago, 8 years ago, and is now at between 6,000 and 7,000 people. So that's the kind of talent that's available here and the ability to scale. I'll also talk about Honeywell. I don't know if anybody's here from Honeywell, but I went to one of their events with some of their management from around the world, and they were so complimentary about the quality of the work being done here, and said that the sustainability initiatives that they've undertaken, this is the center for the entire world for a company as old and amazing and broad as Honeywell that they have found the talent and the infrastructure here, human capital here to build. The same way my friend Bimal of Pinnacle, the amount of work he's doing around the world, and in less than 2 years, up to about 1,500 people, on his way to doubling or tripling that in the next 2-3 years. So, we have what it takes, at least in terms of the people and the extent of support that we give. We can actually ramp this up quite a lot. In many surveys, Madurai ranks in the top 20 or 25 most attractive destinations for information technology and this sector. But I think we can do a lot better. So some of the efforts we're working on, just to give you a view. The first is that we want to have better fitting of our talent to the needs of the market. So we have greatly enhanced our focus on training, on skilling. We have special programs we've started since we came as a government 3.5 years ago. And we are, through non-development, through ramped up training efforts at ICT Academy, we are trying to increase the fit and the immediate productivity ambitions of the workforce from this huge human capital that we have. We are trying to improve the infrastructure in terms of broadband. We are almost completing the Tamil Nadu FiberNet project by the end of this year, and we will be able to provide 100 Mbps fiber connectivity to all 12,650 villages in Tamil Nadu. We are in talks with the National Quantum Computing Mission as well as the government of Finland, as well as some innovative startups, to see if we can set up a quantum center of excellence. We are focused on better coordination within the government to ensure that you don't have to talk to 15 different people. Hopefully there will be some announcements in the near future. We want to have better utilization of the resources we currently are managing. For example, in a lot of Elcott parks, a lot of the land that was allocated has not been actually used, has not been built on. A lot of spaces that were designated SEZ have not had any activity in them, and the SEZ scheme has effectively ceased to exist. So we want to denotify, we want to reallocate, we want to focus on providing holistic environments at these Elcott parks rather than just office buildings, also the potential for hostels, which many people ask for, also some social activity, recreation centers, dining, things like that. And effectively, what we want to do is move up the value chain. We want to be able to do more than just basic services, as you've seen here. In Madurai, world-class, high-end engineering design, product development, execution happens. We want to do more and more of that. The example of our electronics growth of 78% year over year is in fact a function of a great window of opportunity that has opened up. I'll come back to that in a minute. So in order to do this, I think what we need is to work closer together. People like CII, the department of the government, the colleges, my good friends who have signed up here today, better utilization of resources, better coordination, better support. DRDO, the Director General is here. In many countries, as you may know, the defense research organizations have been at the heart of innovation. I remember my days when I first went to the United States in 1987. The only people who had email, only people in the world who had email, was the Defense Advanced Research Projects Administration of the United States. Nobody else had email. The notion of email, the notion of connected computers, the notion of IP was basically funded by the Department of Defense of the United States. So I'm sure that DRDO is doing similar seminal work here. The Director General just announced or explained the many different ways that they can support research and development. And I think collectively we can do all of this together much better. I think I will echo what the Additional Chief Secretary said about marketing. I, for one, don't know how to market what I don't believe in. So one of the reasons I asked for all this information is for us to first understand what is it that we really, what story do we have to tell? We don't want to tell a kind of lower level story than we can. And so I hope that once we have this information that shows the kind of world-class projects, companies, efforts, teams, products that are coming out of here, then we want to greatly ramp up our marketing. By good fortune, regularly we get invited. Now we've been invited to GITEX, the big tech fest in Dubai, the Singapore FinTech Festival, a few others. I've already attended Viva Tech in Paris. We now have, if we have a good story to tell, we are being invited everywhere to tell that story. And that I want to conclude my speech with that fact. The fact is that we have this tremendous window of opportunity. It may not last forever, but it's got at least a few years leg in it. The global kind of investment of all manufacturing, all kind of production in China, that era is over. It has come to a close, and it has come to a very rapid close. Just yesterday, I had two conversations that I thought were very profound. One, on my flight back from Delhi to Chennai yesterday, I happened to sit next to the Asia Pacific head of Saint-Gobain Glass, the big French company. And he was telling me how rapid and how exponential the shift away from China is, and how much places like Vietnam are benefiting from it. And in fact, to be honest, Tamil Nadu's jump to 9.5 trillion is largely driven by that. It's by the fact that Apple has moved a lot of iPhone production assembly into Tamil Nadu away from China. So this is just the tip of the iceberg. There is going to be, for the next 3, 4, 5 years, of course with competition from places like Thailand and Vietnam and other places, but there's going to be such a demand to move not just manufacturing, but embedded technology, design, chips, all of it away from China, that it is going to be unprecedented. We will never have seen this kind of demand before. And by good fortune, I had lunch with my good friend, Dr. Raghuram Rajan, former governor of the RBI and member of the Chief Minister's Economic Advisory Council. And he was talking about the fact that we have all these young people we need to get employed very quickly, and that might be the challenge of our times in terms of public policy. So we have this huge demand for additional facilities for production, for design, for ITES, for replacement manufacturing coming out of China. And we have all these young people who are reaching productive age, millions and millions of them, that we need to get employed. So both for India and for Tamil Nadu and for Madurai, this is a period of opportunity like no other. And I hope collectively between the government entities like CII, research institutions like the DRDO, academic institutions like PSNA, like Tyagaraja College, like Kalasilingam University, that we will be able to put our best foot forward, collectively capitalize on this, and show this kind of 60-70% growth continuously year over year for the next few years, because that's what it will take for us to achieve our ambition of a 1 trillion economy. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.
Good morning. It's my honor to deliver the vote of thanks for this inaugural session. On behalf of CII Madurai and the ICT panel, I would like to extend our sincere gratitude to all the dignitaries for gracing this inaugural session of CA Connect 2020. First, I would like to express my heartfelt gratitude to our Honorable IT Minister Dr. Palnivel Tyagarajan for his inspiring inaugural address. Sir, your vision and leadership continue to drive the growth of information technology and digital services sector in Tamil Nadu, and we are privileged to have his support for our initiatives. Thank you, sir. I would like to extend my sincere thanks to Dr. Chandrika Kaushik, Director General of DRDO, Ministry